Hey everyone, welcome to today's explainer. Usually we bounce around a ton of different concepts here, but today we really need to take a step back. We're looking at something with a distinctly somber tone. It's a stark cautionary tale, and honestly, it's a reality that absolutely does not discriminate. Whether you're a secondary school student right now, looking ahead to this bright, wide-open future, or you're an adult currently juggling the complexities of your career and family life, the data we're looking at today applies directly to you. We're going to examine the realities of drug misuse. We're just going to strip away all the noise, look directly at the research, and really understand the progression, the physical toll, and the ultimate cost of these choices.
Okay, let's dive into this. 3. I know, it seems like such a small, kind of insignificant number, right? But this number actually represents a profound and frankly shocking global statistic from our source data. Every 3 seconds, someone in the world falls victim to drug abuse. I want you to just think about that pacing for a second. 1, 2, 3. That's another person. 1, 2, 3. Yet another person. By the time we literally finish this brief explainer, hundreds of individuals will have been pulled into this crisis. It's this relentless cycle happening right in our communities, our schools, and our workplaces. This isn't some distant problem. It's an immediate, ongoing reality happening literally every few moments.
Now, to really understand the scope of this crisis, we've got to establish a neutral baseline. Like, what exactly are we even talking about? Well, the source clearly defines drugs as substances that alter the mind and the body. But here's the thing, that second part of the definition is absolutely critical. They were originally intended to heal. And that's exactly where the story begins. You see, in their proper medical function, these are tools of medicine, right? They're designed to manage pain, cure illness, and restore bodily function. They literally interact with our biology to fix what's broken. And understanding that original intent, it totally sets the stage for the tragic irony of what happens when that purpose is completely subverted.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core tragedy of our topic today. On one hand, we have the original purpose, meant to heal. But on the other side, we have the stark reality of misuse. They destroy lives, families, and futures. And let's be clear, this isn't just a slight deviation from the plan. It is a total, devastating reversal. A substance engineered to literally save a life becomes the very mechanism that dismantles it. When we talk about how this impacts daily life for both youths and adults, well, this is exactly where it begins. The transition from a healing substance to a destructive force is incredibly swift, and that fallout, it doesn't just hit the individual, it radiates outward, completely shattering the family unit and erasing the future they were working so hard to build.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because it creates a terrifying, inescapable trap of addiction. It is just a harrowing sequence to look at. First, misuse leads to dependency. The source explicitly calls this a trap with no easy exit. So it's not just a bad habit. It's a biological snare. Second, the brain literally stops functioning normally without the substance. The chemistry is totally hijacked, and this explains why willpower alone so often fails. The brain itself has actually been fundamentally rewired. Third, health completely deteriorates. The body just begins to systematically break down. And finally, for far too many, the sequence ends in premature death. This is the biological and chronological roadmap of misuse. It's a straight, downward trajectory that strips away human autonomy at literally every single step. Now, the source material details the severe, long-term physical and mental deterioration, and guys, the numbers are absolutely staggering. We aren't just talking about feeling a little unwell here. The data shows massive statistical spikes in catastrophic organ failure. Chronic misuse actually multiplies the risk of severe liver disease by up to 10 times. And the incidence of sudden heart failure, that rises by over 300% in certain demographics. To put that into perspective, the vital engines of your body simply give out under the toxic load. And it's not just physical either. Mental illness is heavily cited here, with long-term misuse doubling or even tripling the likelihood of severe mood disorders. So if you're an adult trying to maintain a career or a student just trying to keep your grades up and focus on school performance, these long-term health consequences make daily life nearly impossible. The body and the mind just fundamentally break down over time. Relationships break. Careers end. Dreams die. Just let that sink in for a second. This is what the collateral damage actually looks like in daily life. Think about your family relationships. The trust, the late-night conversations, the love, all of it becomes strained and eventually broken under the heavy weight of addiction. Or think about a secondary school pupil whose grades just plummet, whose passions fade away, whose dreams for university or specific vocations simply evaporate because they can no longer focus or perform. Or an adult who spent a decade building a career, only to lose the whole shebang because their reliability and health have been thoroughly compromised. The statistics about heart disease and liver failure are terrifying, for sure. But this represents the crushing human cost, the loss of potential, the loss of who you were meant to be. So, the crucial point is this quote right here. Once it starts, stopping is the hardest thing you'll ever do. I mean, that perfectly encapsulates the cautionary nature of the data we're reviewing today. It highlights the immense, grueling difficulty of breaking the cycle of addiction once you're in it. Remember how we talked about the substance hijacking the brain's chemistry? Well, that is exactly why stopping is so incredibly difficult. Personal choices might lead you to that very first instance of misuse, but man, very quickly the substance just takes away your power to choose. It becomes this monumental physical and psychological mountain you have to climb just to get back to baseline. The warning derived from the research is crystal clear. The absolute most effective way to win this battle is to never step onto the battlefield in the first place. And that brings us directly to the source's urgent call to action. The choice is yours. Say no before it even begins. Choose life, choose clarity, choose your future. The research argues that for the young people listening right now, choosing clarity means actively protecting your developing brain, preserving your ability to learn, grow, and actually secure that future vocation you're dreaming of. And for the adults, it means protecting your livelihood, your family, and your overall stability. The data points to one undeniable conclusion. The most vital personal choice you can ever make is the one that proactively protects your well-being. It's about recognizing the harsh reality of those health statistics we just looked at and making a definitive, conscious decision to guard your life against that biological and psychological trap. We've looked at the timeline. We've seen the devastating physical health statistics, the broken families, and the lost careers. We've seen how a substance originally meant to heal can warp into a trap with no easy exit. Ultimately, it all comes down to the fragile reality of our dreams and the sheer power of our daily decisions. So I'll leave you with this final provocative thought derived from our source today. As you navigate the intense pressures of secondary school or the daily stresses of your career and just the general complexities of life, will you choose your future? Think deeply about what that future holds and exactly what it takes to protect it. Thanks so much for joining me for today's Explainer.